morning, everyone. Welcome to our very informative and important meeting. So now I'm very proud to introduce our president, Ann Omstead.
Right. Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to see you all today. I'm always impressed when people are willing to spend their Saturday morning doing good deeds like this and learning. This is good. Not all pleasure, right? Before we begin, I would like us to take a moment of silence to acknowledge the victims of violence in Atlanta. That was a terrible thing. Another terrible thing. So if you'd all just take a minute, we won't even do a minute, just an acknowledgement that, again, something terrible has happened to innocent victims. Thank you. Okay, so what we're doing today is we're beginning our journey of learning what other groups are doing in our service area, which is North County, related to social justice. Up until now, we have pretty much focused on our voter service and on government transparency, and we have stayed pretty much in our own little corral, if you will. But recent events have taught us that it is now time to reach out, to learn from each other, to work together, to go to the society that we want to see. We have chosen to break this meeting into two parts because we want all of us to be focusing on the message of each organization that we're hearing from today. We thought it was more courteous that all of the attention be focused on one group at a time. And we appreciate both of the groups accommodating us. But we're really trying to be courteous and listen carefully and intently to each group. And I particularly want to thank Bill Loftus for his work in putting this together. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. And with that, I'd like to introduce Ronnie C., who will introduce our first organization from Satya and Rob. Ronnie.
Okay, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce our two speakers from the NAACP, Satya Austin and Robert Jenkins. Satya Austin has a history of activism for youth and the community and has received many honors. She's currently the president of the North San Diego County NAACP. She also serves as state advisor for the Youth and College Division for California and Hawaii, and is an adult representative of the National NAACP Youth Works Committee. I'm sure she will say more about herself and her work, and she's quite marvelous. So, and then we have Robert Jenkins, or Rob. He's the executive vice president of the North San Diego County NAACP. Most recently, he helped shape the new de-escalation policing policies in Escondido, and he's committed to working for social justice and racial equality. Our League Social Policy Director, Bill Loftus, and I met with Satya and Rob back in January, and we were impressed with their work and the principles of the NAACP. And we thought more league members should have the opportunity to meet them. So, Satya and Rob, it's your turn.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us. Again, obviously, my name is Satya Austin. Robert Jenkins, our first vice president. We're actually delighted to be here. I did put a presentation together, so I will share my screen in a minute. I wanted to make sure that we give a little background about us as well. We'll still be kind of quick to make sure that we won't take up too much time. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If it'll let me, it's not. Awesome. I think we got it now. Can everybody see that now?
Yes.
Awesome. make this a little smaller so you'll have to see all that. Awesome. Mr. Jenkins, you want to say good morning first before we delve in here?
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Awesome. So again, of course, I put our names on there, our logo that we're very proud of. We are 112 years old. And so and definitely the work is not finished. So what we want to definitely make sure we just give you a little something about what we do. And Mr. Jenkins?
Yeah, so the mission of the NAACP is to ensure the political, the educational, the social, and the economic equality of rights of all persons, and to eliminate race-based discrimination. And really, we're really proud of that mission. Our vision statement for the NAACP is to ensure a society in which all individuals have equal rights without discrimination based on race.
Awesome. Of course, we also put a quick little picturesque thing here for you guys to see some of the victories or some of the things we've been working on here as well, including things that happen locally. So our numbers. So right now the NAACP is made of 2.4 million members, activists who mobilize both online and offline. We have over 2,200 units we dedicate to volunteerism. We have over 800 youth and college units under the age of 25. We have 47 states where we have field presence, 1.7 million followers on Instagram. Oh my gosh. And 409K following on Twitter and 685K following on Facebook. And I already told you we're 112 years old. We do have presence in Japan, Korea, even though Alaska and Hawaii are still states, but I definitely want to mention that as well. And Germany, I had to think about that, in Germany. All right. Our structure is made of our national board, our staffing, our state conferences, and then local and youth units. I definitely want to give you a little just about that. And then here's the wonderful thing that drives us. We have something called Game Changers, which we just talked about how we do our advocacy. We have other standing committees that we continue to do our advocacy. And our outreach is going to be our membership, our community partnership, our police accountability, and our school to prison pipeline. And our advocacy is registering voters, policy change, community awareness, and eliminating disparities. So I'm going to stop right there with my sharing here. And Rob and I are going to quickly engage with you about what we're doing now in the wake of George Floyd and the continuous systemic practices that eliminate any race for being who they are, their purpose and pursuit of the American dream. As we again know that the events that happened in 2020 have really awakened a lot of people. And we definitely appreciate the spaces that we've been allowed to be in so that we can be able to enact this change and talk about why we need new policies. As in his introduction, I'm gonna let Rob talk in a second. We talked about de-escalation in the Escondido police force there. This is a newest thing that we started on in June of 2020, our police accountability. And it kind of interchanges with definitely with our voter empowerment as well as our community empowerment and making sure that people are aware. And so we're actually using the same model that Rob has actually been successful in Escondido in all of the 18 cities. We're lacking in maybe 3 or 4 cities, but we're trying to change that aspect. Rob, go ahead. Is he unmuted?
Rob, unmute yourself.
I just wanted to digress a little bit and just talk about our standing committees, our outreach, our advocacy, and our game changers. And there's a lot of different organizations out there, but we are very eclectic when it comes to the NAACP. We have over 30 executive board members within the NAACP. So that's something that we're very proud of. We're very busy, based on the different committees that we're doing out there. So we're making sure that, in each and every facet of life that, we make sure that there's no discrimination. And so as far as the Police Accountability Joint Task Force, that's something that Satya graciously created after the murder of George Floyd and countless others last year and the years prior. And it was a joint police accountability task force that included organizations throughout North and the entire San Diego County district. And we have about 10 different organizations. And Yusuf Miller and I, we both live in Escondido. And so we definitely wanted to, take care of Escondido and build that relationship and collaboration with the chief of police there. And we also worked with Carlsbad and the Vista Sheriff Department. But we are so proud to say that Yusuf and I, with the help of the Police Accountability Task Force, we were able to take that de-escalation policy, the one that they have, got that de-escalation policy revised. And unlike other police departments where there was no community input, we had direct community input as far as the language goes within the de-escalation policy. Of course, it went back and forth to Chief Varso and the Escondido Police Department superiors. But the final draft was finished in December. And we just had a press conference 2 weeks ago to roll out the final draft. And so that's something that we're very proud of with the NAACP and the Escondido Police Department. We are using the Escondido Police Department as a model going forward with other police departments, as Satia mentioned. That doesn't mean that everything is finished at this point. There's still a lot of work that we have to do. And I appreciate Chief Varso from the Escondido Police Department being as transparent as he has, so that we can go forward to deal with other issues regarding police reform.
Awesome. Again, I want to go back as well and say within this accountability task force, great people, great leaders, the work is being done. And that's not only in Escondido, as Rob mentioned, it's also in Encinitas, it's in Oceanside, we're beginning in Vista, but again, I definitely look for more information for forthcoming events where we're holding these officers accountable. And again, our mission is to eliminate any disparities, to have policy change. We are actually going to make sure that with the new George Floyd Policing Act that's just been approved, that we're going to hold these law enforcement individuals accountable. All right, so one of the things, again, that we talked about is our standing committee, some of the economic objectives. That's actually one of our game changers, because we need to make sure that in this climate of COVID that everybody has be able to sustain their families and move forward. And so this is a little chart that I have here. I won't bore you with having to read it, but it's basically, we're empowering the committee by giving them the tools, exactly what you guys do as well, making sure they're registering to vote, making sure they have information on what they're voting for, and ensure that they're part of the process, and then allowing to see our committee and our community grow, so that we can be part of the change and not so much the problem. So definitely wanted to share that. I think it kind of lost on me here. There we go. And I'm going to ask Rob to talk about membership.
So I'm sorry if you can hear my granddaughter in the background. She's having a little tantrum right now. I apologize.
I can do it, Rob, if you want me to. Do you want me to
Yes.
calm her down? Okay.
Yes,
Awesome.
thank you.
So Rob is our newly appointed membership chair. He graciously said, I love membership, and you want to delve into here. So he's doing double duty as the first vice president as well as membership chair. Our membership is $30 a year if you chose a regular, if you chose a regular membership. We do have a life membership component, which is $750 in totality, but in devising payments of $75 a year if you decide to do that. We do have other corporate and other sponsorships available for membership, but typically people just do one or the other. Our youth memberships are anywhere between $10 and $15, and there's also a life component to that as well. Membership is actually the bloodline of the association. And it's not so much as the money, because again, we do a split with our national office. So not a certain percentage stays in-house, but it adds numbers to our roster. It adds, and when we want to do these petitions or we're having these particular task force that we're doing with accountability, we're able to add numbers. And so we definitely would love to have interview part of our membership to make sure, again, that we can enact change in our communities with your help.
Satia, can I add something
Yes,
there?
sir.
Like Satia said, I'm really a big advocate of membership. And as I was talking to Bill and I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but the other young lady that the initial meeting that took place, I really believe in relationships and building collaborations within the community, especially with different organizations. And I'm kind of disappointed that it took this long for the NAACP and the League of Women Voters to collaborate, because all across the nation, specifically in 2020, with such horrendous acts of racism going on, the NAACP and the League of Women Voters have been in collaboration already in several different cities, Pennsylvania, in Texas and Indiana. They've been working together, with the elections for voter registration. They sued the NAACP and the League of Women Voters in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, sued Trump with it was a Trump against Governor Murphy that was trying to get the mail-in ballots out there, and so we were in collaboration with that lawsuit. So I'm glad now that we are collaborating with you, and we hope that this is a long-term collaboration, because with the elections coming up in 2 to 3 years, that we need to be coming together to make sure that our residents and citizens are actually going out there voting and making sure that we can get voter registration. So I really thank the League of Women Voters for having us today. Thank you.
Awesome. So I wanted to show this little wonderful screen about this is not all. This is who has logos and who gave us permission to use them. This is the start of our partnership. And so, of course, we love to have the League of Women Voters on here. And majority of times, particularly like AT&T and Wells Fargo, they have been steady event sponsors and collaborators with financial literacy and technology grants and things of that nature. So I definitely wanted to kind of showcase that as well. And then we are at questions. Is there any questions?
Ronnie,
Okay.
please. Okay.
Okay, we are now open for questions. Ronnie.
I just want to make clear what Satia and Rob told us when I met with Bill, that in spite of their name, NAACP works for the rights of all individuals, young, old, black, white, purple, whoever. And it's just like the League of Women Voters have male members too, and that's oftentimes misleading, and people think we only do stuff for women. Rob made that clear in our meeting, and I wanted to repeat it now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So with that is said, I know people do have the misconception because it's saying colored people, but color encompasses every color, right? And
Right.
so this organization was not started on just Blacks alone. It was made for Blacks who were being lynched, but we had a variety of people start this, coming from the Niagara movement, and basically changing the narrative when they got to Niagara Falls. And so here we are, NAACP. And I think there was some talk, like Rob was actually saying in one of our meetings the other night, about changing the name, but the name fits. It's encompassing everybody. Our executive committee alone has several diverse members on it serving this community. So it's definitely not just for one color. Thank you for that.
Okay, our next question is from Rita, and then from Jill, and then Corey has her hand up. So we'll go with Rita first. Rita, you're muted. You're still muted. Oh boy. Oh, okay, we'll go on to Jill, and she's going to try a different way, I think. Jill?
Oh, now she's unmuted.
Now she's unmuted.
Oh, sorry, Jill.
Okay, sorry about that. I didn't know when you raise your hand, it does something to the muting. But anyways, I have 3 questions. First of all, Satya, you referred to the George Floyd Policing Act that was just approved. State of California or what? Federal? What? I
It's
don't
federal.
know about that. It's
Yes,
federal.
it's federal. Yes, ma'am. It's actually authored by Congresswoman Bass, Karen Bass, and other entities, but yes.
Okay. Oh, good. Thank you. And then I wondered how many members you have in your local group in North County.
So it fluctuates. So at the beginning of and around the middle of 2020, we had up to 400 to 500. So if you don't renew annually, I think now and we've been down a little bit, but it's like not having the personal touch, not having be able to engage with people. It's been challenging, but I don't look at that small number because we're large in community and efforts, and so yes, ma'am.
Oh, I love your attitude. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The same thing has happened to us after the election. Our membership renewals dropped off a bit, so that makes sense. And then my last question is: you have so many great partners, sponsoring partners. How are those structured? Is it individual depending on is it Wells Fargo or this one or that one, or we don't have that I know of. And I'd
Okay.
love to know how that works.
So it's a multiple type of deal. So one of the things we do, we bring in partners because of our outreach. So we have a back to school, stay in school where typically, I know you guys heard at Miracles to College, the first week in August, we give away backpacks and school supplies. So of course, we bring in a lot of people with that as well. Tri-City has been the sponsor of that as well, AT&T and Wells Fargo. We also do mentoring programs. It's for giving supplies, like we gave laptops away through AT&T. So they came on board that way. And they also sponsor our Dr. Martin Luther King events. Also with some of the schools I have on there, Maricosta, Cal State, they also come in through our advocacy days with Dr. King. So it's just about what platform we're doing, but they have been continually supporting us in different facets, as well as now we have a couple more sponsors with housing, trying to make sure people know how to buy their homes and what they're doing with discrimination in homes and just like the financial literacy portion. So like Rob was saying, we have every facet of life in the NAACP. And so where somebody may focus on just legal redress somewhere else. So they do that one thing well. We have to do all the multiple things to make sure that everyone in our group or in our community have a well knowledge of what's going on, what they're entitled to, and make sure they're right. So we try to spread the wealth. And so a lot of these partners see the benefit of what we're doing and they just join in.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Jill, you're next and you're muted.
Okay, my question is about contacts. When the time comes to collaborate with the NAACP, my interest specifically would be vis-a-vis the voting aspect, voter rights. Whom would I contact and when would be the likely time to do it, most beneficial time?
Okay, so we do have a political action chair. His name is Marlon Taylor. He's actually been newly elected for the Encinitas School Board.
Yeah.
But it could be a contact of myself or Rob, anyone that will, again, carry the message to make sure that our group knows what's going on. We absolutely, I know you mentioned one of the first times you saw us on a Zoom was our candidate forum. We would love to have you involved in that as well. We love to make sure we're finding different tools to reach the community. We have something called a VAN system for the NAACP, not just locally for the entire NAACP. So it gives us a synopsis of who voted, who didn't vote, why they didn't vote. And so we are able to contact people. And so that is also another avenue that we can collaborate on because we want to know what's going on, how they feel about their government. And a lot of people we're finding that they don't even know what they're voting for. So that example is that they think it's just about the president. But we have to, we have a hospital board, we have a school board, we have city council. And so the more educated that we have our community, the more results we can get. And that's going to take everybody, right? It just can't be the NAACP. So these partnerships are essential. Our membership is essential to make sure that we get the job done, because at the end of the day, we all have to live here.
Amen. Okay, next is Corey. And Corey, you're muted.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I just wanted to applaud Mr. Jenkins for his work in Escondido. I live in Escondido in the rural area, so I can't vote for city council, although I've been very involved in, helping as a person concerned in the election and the candidacies for Consuelo and Olga. But so much needed to be done in the police department, and I was so excited to read when it got released to the press. I went, wow, how much work must have gone in, and all the time before you actually got to announcement. And so I just wanted to applaud you and your organization for doing something that's so needed.
The next question is from Bill. Let me see. I think Blaze is next, and then Bill. You're muted, Blaze. There.
Good morning. Thank you for. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, you're fine.
I'm okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is so exciting to learn all this information and just be with you all. Just wanted to clarify my understanding, Satya, about the George Floyd Justice and Policing legislation. My understanding is that it passed the House, but it has not passed the Senate. Am I correct in that?
Yes, ma'am, you are correct.
Okay, so it's not law yet.
Yes.
Okay, that's too bad. Thank you.
But I'm hopeful. It's moving on. So we're not accepting anything less.
Okay, next is Bill. And Bill, you're mute. Oh, okay, you're good.
Yeah, like my friend Rita, I have 3 questions. The first question is of Satya, in terms of the Alliance for Regional Solutions. You are a member of that, and we belong to the Alliance, and we recently got a letter from you asking us to complete a survey, and we kind of laughed at our board meeting because Rita was my straight man. She said, well, Rita said to us, well, what do they want to know from all of us white people about, this kind of stuff? And I said, thank you, Rita, for asking that, because I said the point of the survey is to see how deeply our organization is learning about and involving ourselves in being educated about social justice and racial equity and those kinds of things. But as one of the signatories on that letter, Satya, could you expand upon my simple explanation to Rita and to our board why to fill out the survey?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. It's important because, as I mentioned before, we all live here. Everybody has a different perspective of what equity and equality is. And so it takes many voices to kind of see exactly where we need help in. And I want to mention also the survey is completely anonymous. So we're not looking at what color you are. We're looking at the fact of, have you noticed this? What can we change? Are we doing our job as a community, not so much as an individual of a specific race? And so I definitely challenge everybody to fill it out, because again, how are we going to know what we need to fix if everybody doesn't lend their voice?
Thank you.
Yes.
Now my next question is for Rob. Rob, you've been applauded here for your work in Escondido. And I think that from my understanding of the last time that I was on a webinar with you, you were expressing some concerns about your inability to make progress in Carlsbad. And we've got 4 members, I think, here on the screen that are from the Carlsbad unit. And, and this Tuesday night, Rob, I believe that the City Council is hearing a staff report from last October, when it followed an incident that occurred where a Black man in Carlsbad was tasered. And I think you and Yusuf and a couple other folks were raising the level of concern in terms of how that was handled. And the city authored a staff report, and that's coming out this Tuesday night. And I looked at the staff report and last night, Nita Rodriguez sent it to me. And I was struck by how everybody in Carlsbad is so happy with the police department. And yeah, you're shaking your head a little bit. And I thought, you know, it's very awkward to do a survey and ask people their race. But I am thinking that probably those results are the product of the ethnic distribution in Carlsbad, which is significantly white, and many of whom have not had contact with the police and or had positive contacts. And I just wondered if you wanted to comment at all. Are you going to be able to go to the meeting Tuesday night, listen to the staff report? And I think I emailed Satya to see if your buddy Yusuf could be a part of that as well. And I don't know if any of our Carlsbad members might also be present. And then I'll ask my third question, but go ahead, Rob.
Thank you, Bill. Yes, definitely. Yusuf and I are already aware of the meeting Tuesday night and the staff report.
Okay.
And initially, you know, after the incident with Mr. Cock Hartshaw, and we were really focused on that, the non-de-escalation, how the whole thing went down. And we reached out to Chief Gallucci, and he, at that time, he wasn't available. And so he had Assistant Chief Mickey Williams to talk to us. So we've had several conversations with Assistant Chief Mickey Williams, and he was, you know, very gracious with us and, you know, somewhat transparent with us. But, you know, at this point in time, we haven't spoke with Chief Gallucci, and I'm very disappointed by that, because it just shows that, you know, as far as he has no value to talk to. He doesn't value us as an organization. He doesn't. I just see that he doesn't value the community by not even reaching out to talk to us. So I'm hoping that he is going to be at the board meeting on Tuesday night, and hopefully they will allow questions. And we already got questions written up for, you know, what I wish I had a copy of the report myself. So I'll be, Yusuf and I can be well aware of what's involved in the staff report. And so that way we can be more versed based on our questions. But yes, we will be there.
Well, Rob, you're lucky. I will send you a copy of the staff report.
Thank you. So
Nita Rodriguez, who used to be the chair of the Carlsbad unit.
Bill, I would like you to not ask any more questions, because we have two more people who have questions, and you've had two, and we're getting close to our second group. Unless it's a really short question, and I do mean
very short question.
Oh,
and
good.
This is, I'm going to put Satya and Rob on the spot and say, how would you like to have a speaker from the League of Women Voters come to your organization and tell you about all the great things that we are doing?
I'm glad you said that, because I actually did send you an email maybe a week or two ago asking if a representative would come out and speak to our group. So let's talk about that offline, because I definitely would love to have that.
Very good. The next one up is Marlene. And you're muted. Yep.
I would like to hear either or both of you tell those of us who are not familiar with the law going from the House to the Senate any specifics that it's proposing to change what is clearly not a satisfactory situation.
Okay, so the bill basically is a synopsis of how policing should be done, how we people who are accused of whatever wrongdoing have the right to basically fair trial. It talks about de-escalation. It talks about the 8 can't wait, which are definitely 8 specific things that they should be doing in policing and when they obtain somebody. So there's a bunch of verbiage in there. I can definitely send you a copy or send it to somebody here, and then you guys can be able to actually see it. But that's basically what it talks about. That does not guarantee that the local government will follow it. It's just saying these are the guidelines. Yes, that unfortunately is. Actually, we just had a a panel with myself, Karen Bass, Congresswoman Karen Bass, and Congressman Mike Levin, and we talked about that. And I asked those particulars because we want to try to get a race and equity commission in our cities. We want to also get the oversight committee. And although those things are kind of spelled out in the bill, they do not mandate that local government do that. But I want to use that bill, like I said, to try to put pressure on local government because it's necessary.
Very good.
And
Thank you. And next is Connie. Oh, I'm sorry, Rob. Did you have something to add?
no, one of the facets of the bill, just real quick, is the National Registry.
Yes.
And that is something that they haven't had before. So it's, it compiles the data of complaints against police officers on the job and a misconduct. So that's one of the facets that we definitely like.
And not just a suggestion, right?
Right.
Okay, Connie, you were next.
Yeah, this is to Rob, and thank you both for coming and joining us today. This is tremendous. Rob, when you first started, and I'm in Carlsbad. So when you first decided to reach out into the Escondido police, how did you begin? What did you come with? Did you create a collective that came and spoke to them and said, these are our issues? Tell us, could you give us like the first 3 steps?
Yes. The advantage that we had was, first of all, Chief Varso has only been on the job for 2 years. So, of course, police chiefs that come on the job, they want to make sure that they are there for the community and, reaching out to the community. And ironically, Chief Varso was at a protest that was held at City Hall for George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and countless others. And actually, Yusuf had a chance to introduce himself at that time. I couldn't get up to, I couldn't get up. It was so many people, I couldn't get up and introduce myself. But Yusuf set up the meeting with Chief Varso, and we had that first meeting. So it was just a matter of making that contact, making that first call. And ironically as well, is that before the protests of George Floyd last year, it was pretty hard trying to get a meeting with the different police chief. It was almost a closed door policy, and you had to jump through so many hoops. One of the things I will say is that, some of the other departments or some of the other organizations, they are trying to go through city council to get to the different police departments. And one thing that our task force is, we didn't want to, be going around in circles. So we reached out directly to the different police departments. Yusuf and I, we reached out obviously to Escondido. We went and spoke directly to the Carlsbad Police Department. I know Satya and her colleagues, they reached out to Oceanside and talked to Oceanside Police Department directly. And they are going through the city council as well, just like Carlsbad right now. But I think going through the city council is a good thing, but it's also a slow process. So if you can reach out directly to the different police departments, I think that would be more of a value than going any other route.
Can I add something to that?
Sure, go ahead.
I just want to point out, Rob is correct. It is a slower process, but I don't want to misstep and not acknowledge the work of Deputy Mayor Consuelo Martinez, who actually invited Rob and I both to have a conversation with the mayor to start the process. They wanted to make sure they had oversight committee as well. They wanted to engage and help out. So that was actually the first step. And then after the conversations, Rob and Yusuf went ahead and went directly to the police chief. So I definitely don't want to count her out because she was instrumental in this as well.
Yes.
Okay. And my other question is just, I'm not quite sure who Yusuf is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is he with you all, or is he also with another organization as well? Who is he?
Both.
Yusuf Miller is a community activist. He's been active with a lot of civil issues, for the last 5 or 6 years. He's also part of the NAACP right now, and he co-founded the Equity and Justice Coalition. And so if you see a lot of news reports on television, you'll see him there on the speaker, speaking out against the injustices in not only North San Diego County, but San Diego County in general.
So
Thank you, Connie. Connie. Sorry. To be fair to everybody. Okay, I really want to thank both of you very much. It's very clear that we could have done a lot more today, talking about what we can do together, but I am seeing so many places where we can work together that I would like to propose another meeting, and we will work on that. We will
Awesome.
we will definitely be in touch, but I really want to thank you both very much for introducing your amazing organization. I am feeling so ignorant right now. I'm just, I don't know.
No, don't.
I didn't know. I didn't. I'm sorry. I didn't know, but now I do. And the
Yes.
rest of us do too. So we thank you very much for that. And now we're going to swing over to another organization which has kindly come today to tell us about what they're up to. This is MANA. And I would like to introduce Debbie Loftus, who will make the official introduction. Debbie, you're on. You're muted also, unfortunately. There.
Thank you, Anne, very much. I appreciate that. And I would like to thank all three of Griselda. Welcome. I have not met you before, but I'm sure you've heard about me and my emails to dear Corey. She's got the patience of a saint, let me tell you. And Karen, so nice to meet you too, as well. So let me give you just a little teeny background about each one. And maybe I'll start with Karen. Karen is a Carlsbad High School senior, and she joined Hermanitas, which is, correct me ladies if I'm wrong, but it's kind of what you call the mentoring groups at different high schools or middle schools. Am I correct on that? Okay, and she's been doing it since 7th grade. What a gal, wow, that's fantastic. And she's won Hermanita of the Year twice, and now she's co-president of the MANA Club at Carlsbad High School. She's participated in field trips, college visits that MANA offers for the girls to be able to find out about school. And she's been accepted by several universities. And on a personal note, Karen, I have a senior granddaughter, and she's just been getting her acceptance from universities. So it's an exciting time. Yeah. So anyway, that's wonderful. Good for you. She's planning to become a child psychologist in the future. Next, I would like to introduce Corey, who I told her when we had a long phone conversation, I said, Corey, I wish I lived right next door to you because I think we could be friends. And so we kind of chuckled about several different things that we had in common. But anyway, Corey has been teaching for 45 years at all different levels of education, from kindergarten to university and adult ed. And her specialization is special education, bilingual, and ESL. Corey herself is bilingual and bicultural, and she's the proud godmother of 5 children from Mexico, from the Ruiz family who live nearby, and they have a total of 14 children, and she is godmother of 5 of them. She came to this area from Orange County in 1989 and kind of started off around here as bilingual director for San Marcos Unified. Then she retired. It's one of those things where you retire and then you go right back again. Returned in September to start the Hermanitas mentoring program at Valley Middle School. And so then she has been developing curriculum and so forth and expanded the program at several schools. She currently works pro bono for MANA, the North County, and she continues to meet with her cohorts of girls every week on Zoom. So she is a very, very busy lady. And now to talk about the new president, Griselda Beck has a master's degree, and she is, as described by others, a visionary, an entrepreneur, an expert strategist, motivational speaker, and a proud Latina, first generation Mexican-American, African-American heritage. She is passionate about personal development fueled by her own life story, which drove her to start coaching women who are business owners and helping them to become confident CEOs. And she founded the organization Latina Boss Coach. Griselda has been an executive for over 15 years of corporate experience, and she is the owner and lead strategist of the Beck well-named consulting group, including its division Latina Boss Coach, and she serves as the president, recently elected for MANA of North County, San Diego. So I would like to welcome all three ladies. It's an exciting time because I think all of us are on the move, and that's pretty wonderful. Okay, I don't know which of you ladies would like to take it away first. Is it you, Griselda, that would like to start? Or
I'll go ahead and share my screen, and then Griselda will start, and then
okay.
Thank you all for having us here today and giving us a space to share a little bit about our platform, our organization, and the amazing impact and opportunity that we all have as a collective community to impart into our young girls, our hermanitas. So that is the word in Spanish for little sisters. We have been an organization for 12 years, co-founded by our former president, Gabriela Hushman. We are the local chapter in North County. There are 13 other chapters. Nationwide, it is a nationwide organization. Our mission is to empower our Latina teens through leadership development and community service and also advocacy. A little bit about who our board members are. As you just heard, I am the new president, effective this month. And Gabriela Hushman was our former president, co-founder of this chapter. Amazing, amazing human being who has just a love for our girls in our mission in her heart, and is now serving as our internal vice president and treasurer. Our external VPs of external affairs, they are out there creating connections in the community, creating relationships with potential donors and community partners, are Dulce Miranda and Adriana Brunner. Our current secretary is Adriana Toledo. She is amazing, a recent grad, and so excited to be a part of her career and also to have her with us and bring her talents to serve our community. Our Hermanitas director is Corey DeAnda. What wasn't shared is she's created the curriculum for our Hermanitas and has won, as of 2020, Hermanitas Program of the Year. So thank you, Corey, also for everything that you do for our chapter. She is texting the girls all the time, staying up with them, intimately involved with them, just making sure that they're doing their college applications and helping them handle life as there's challenges as teens come about. And so her dedication to our Hermanitas, it just astounds me and inspires me every single day. Our members are comprised of community members just like you. They are professionals, recent college grads. Some of them are still in college. We do have student memberships for them at student rates. And these are really professional women who are looking to expand their own professional networks and also that have a drive to impart something into the community, to be a part of this legacy and to serve our community. So all are welcome to join. We do have some male partner or community members. We have a couple community partners or members that come in, and a lot of people. We are completely volunteer run. So those also looking to take a more active part in our chapter, very welcome. We have amazing, amazing, amazing partners that work with us to provide money for scholarships. We were generously able to provide our hermanitas with some computers last year. Just a lot of resources as they come up. A lot of our young girls are interested in STEM, so we're able to create events for them and bring mentors in each of their areas of interest to them. We also take them on some college tours so that they can see the different campuses. Thank you to Gabby and Corey that volunteer their time to do that. And so we want to thank Rotary, Route 78, Pathway Health Clinic in Vista, yes, in Carlsbad, our school districts that support us and allow us to be present on campus and serve their student body. Our Latina partner sorority, Alpha Pi Sigma at CSUSM, the Office of Internships, so that's where we get most of our interns from, the Latina Leadership Network at MiraCosta College, and Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce. Our Latinas need mentoring, just like any teens that are going through these issues. But for Oceanside, specifically in North County, we have actually made top 9 cities in California with the highest teen pregnancy rates. And of those teen pregnancy rates, Latinas are the highest percentage, and the highest percentage of school dropout for that reason. So our program is aimed at reducing teen pregnancy and increasing the rates of graduation and college acceptance. The curriculum is dedicated to working hand in hand with our hermanitas to help empower them, build confidence in them, reduce suicide rate attempts, and to set them up for success. And so a lot of that also, once they graduate, a lot of our college hermanitas that came from the program come back to serve the next generation. And it's a beautiful circle that keeps on giving. A lot of our members have children that have also gone through our program. And with that, I would love to hand this over to Corey to share with you a little bit more about our Hermanitas program. Thank you.
Okay, so at local middle schools and high schools, there's a program called AVID, and some of our girls are also in AVID, but our program is very unique because it doesn't just focus on academics and college and career. We focus on developing confidence, developing leadership skills, because they don't have opportunity to do that in school. The lessons that we teach them are life lessons that they don't get in school at all, especially cultural identity, role models. They don't get a chance to be leaders. So their first year in 7th grade, they're learning. The 8th graders are right there. Well, not in a pandemic year, but are right there helping them, leading their small groups, getting all the materials to them, checking things out, checking things back, so they can see that they have leaders right there. They're developing their leadership skills where they don't have opportunity to do that in regular school. And so then we match the girls starting in 7th grade with a role model of a woman who's Latina, who's in their same career field. So we really spend a lot of time introducing Latina role models, because if you ask somebody, okay, who's a successful Latino, what are they going to say? Just celebrities, right? So we don't focus at all on celebrities. Okay, who in math, who in science, who in, in politics, who in teaching, so we get some people from every different career field. And then we have had some challenges. The girls sometimes really challenge me. I mean, one time, I want to be a dolphin trainer. So I have to go find a Latina who's a dolphin trainer, and a marine biologist and this and that. Sometimes it really takes me time to research and use my contacts to find, connections, but I usually find connections. So they write a report about them. Well, actually, we give them their biography and they do a poster so that they can see their envisioning poster up there and their Latina role model poster up in their room, if they have a room. They usually don't have their own room. They'll have a space though, where they can put up a poster, So that's how we're different. And so the girls get more opportunities than they would have if they were not in the program, because they're invited, being hermanitas, to different conferences with college students, whereas the general public's not invited. So it's a lot about opportunity. I was focusing more on high school students because I think that's the group that you're interested in, but we have programs this year at 3 high schools. Last year we had 4 high schools. This year the girls at Orange Glen and ESCO, they said they just did not have the time. They were overwhelmed with too many commitments. So they asked us to take a break this year. And so basically the schools have told us that they want us to be on campus as a club. So we go through all the approvals every year to be approved as a club on campus. We need to have a teacher there on campus to sponsor the club, even though the teacher doesn't have to do any work. I'm there, and we have a college mentor with the students. So the college mentor and I kind of divide up so that the girls get plenty of individual attention. And that's a paid internship for the girls. So they get that, on their resume as a college student, and they get some pay in the form of a scholarship. So that comes from grants from the Seroptimists International. So, and then at the end, they get scholarships. We've given lots and lots of scholarships, as you'll find. But these are our topics for high school. They're similar topics to middle school, but they're at a more advanced level, more adult level of sharing the information. Mental health is a really biggie for teens, especially Latina teens, if they're the oldest in the family. And it turns that the oldest Latina in the family are ones that join our club because they're the most motivated. They have ganas, to move ahead, right? And but there's more pressure on them as the eldest Latina in the family to help, to be responsible for the siblings, to translate for the parents, to do all these things. And a lot of times they find themselves thinking that they don't have anyone to go to talk to. Who are they going to go to if they're not feeling well mentally, if they're depressed, if they're anxious? And so that's why one reason of the suicide rate, suicide attempt rate. So we always talk about those topics. We talk about human trafficking. That is a big deal in San Diego County. Our new topics for this year is self-advocacy, how to be a more assertive speaker, because they're not assertive speakers. They'd rather just be quiet, and then we need you to assert yourself, to advocate for yourself. It's easier for them because they're so giving and so helpful to advocate for other people. So it kind of starts, that's a baby step, advocate for somebody else, But then you've got to advocate for yourself, for your own needs, for your own opinions. You need to express yourself in these Zoom rooms. And so we challenge the girls to speak out. They go, well, we have things to say, but we're afraid to speak. So those were some challenging things for them to overcome this year. And they have a lot of obstacles. So we're always talking about how to overcome obstacles. The girls really enjoy talking about the stereotyping that the media always does with Latinas. They have to be sexy, they have to be this, they have to be that. And so much weirdness, going on with the stereotyping. We introduced them to a lot of Latinas who write literature. And during the pandemic, I developed a whole library, or traveling library, from the back of my Honda, so they can check out books, by Latina authors, because they're not in the libraries. Plus the libraries were closed at the time. And then we do cultural celebrations, and we're going to have our first in-person cultural celebration with Sage Creek. Coming up next month. And diabetes prevention is a big deal for the Hispanic community because diabetes is on the rise, especially for students, families coming from Mexico, as opposed to Central and South America. It's higher. So we all talk about diabetes type 2 prevention. So how many girls have completed? Here's some of our stats. I started with Valley Middle School in Carlsbad. Gabriela started with one school in Vista, which has now changed names. But so yes, as soon as I retired, I started a cohort in Valley, and then just kept expanding and expanding. So these are the different schools that we've done. It's kind of a boot camp, 1 year intensive, every week training, 1 hour a week plus homework. And then all of our mentees who do continue to high school not only graduate, but they do go into college. Some of our mentees, they get involved with other organizations, like mentoring programs for like freshmen. They have special names for these groups, but they're in band, or they get into performing arts or dance, that occupies all of their time. Carlsbad is very competitive. You know, these schools are so competitive. And so some of them are not able to have the time to continue with this for high school. But the ones that, and then there are some girls that didn't participate in middle school because the timing didn't work out for them, or they had sports after school, because that's an after school program in middle school. And then they joined us in high school. And so, so those are our girls. And then we just stay with them. And then we also award scholarships to current Latino students, mostly coming from Cal State San Marcos. Some of them are products of our own, our own graduates. Others are girls that never had this program who just are so excited to be able to help because they wish they'd had it when they were in high school or middle school or any time, but they didn't. They didn't get it. So those are some of our stats for college students. And in the summer, we work with a separate set of interns working on curriculum and Latina biographies. So they help me and I work with them in small groups. And then these are some of our recent achievements. During the pandemic, I worked with one incoming ninth grader to Carlsbad High. She's in broadcasting. And we created a video of the 50th anniversary of Chicano Park because they had this big celebration planned for April, which was their 50th anniversary. They couldn't celebrate. So that was really sad. So I said, something has to be done. And Mana National asked us to please make a video. So I go, well, then I'll make the video on Chicano Park. How difficult could it be to make a video? I'd never made a video before, but oh my goodness, a lot of work. But I found one of my mentees who had the software program, which I didn't have, and she knew how to create a video. So I would give her all the material and she would put it together. And it was a challenge because of the pandemic, we couldn't sit together and with the same computer, and she didn't have a phone. So that was even more challenging. But anyway, it got debuted in the summer at the conference and in the Latino Book and Family Festival. So that was one of our big things. And we were selected by Just Us Partners, which we were really excited. We didn't know exactly how we got nominated, but we were really excited to receive a community grant from them. And that's going to go to scholarships, all of it to scholarships, because we have so many seniors this year. And these are some of our awards. We've gotten Humanities Program of the Year twice. I got Volunteer of the Year. Our chapter got Chapter of the Year. And we got a nice recognition here from Tasha for our contributions to the community. That was at a Seroptimus meeting. And then we fund our programs for writing grants. We charge a tiny service fee for the schools to help pay for the insurance, because we have to have buku insurance to step foot on the schools, even though I'm a retired teacher. And then we get our STEM funding from SDG&E, and we ask small companies to sponsor t-shirts for the 7th graders and for the high schoolers, so they can have their logo on it, so the girls can see that other community members are also supporting our mentoring programs. And so we have a good partnership with Point Loma, which is now called My Point. And Adriana Brunner has been doing this with me for several years now. And now she's joined our board. So we're really excited about that, to have a person from finance in our board. So she's from Colombia. And then these are some other companies that have sponsored us in the past. This year, we lost a lot of the sponsors because of COVID, because they put their monies more towards, immediate needs and providing PPE and food and things like that to organizations. So our question to you is, can you think of any other organization that does this particular purpose in North County? So we know the answer, right? So this is just a few ways of how you can help. So Griselda, would you like to chime in here?
Sure. Thank you. So we get asked, there's a lot of people who want to give back, who want to get involved and really just don't know how. So I'm trying to get the word out of ways that you can help. It's not always a monetary thing, and monetary things are also needed. So becoming a member of Mana North County Our regular membership fee is $45. It's very affordable. That's for the entire year. That money goes to help us with some of our administrative costs, and also help support for the girls wherever we are short on donations for like their t-shirts and things like that. We do use those funds for that, and that's a huge help, and it makes a dent. So thank you for that. Donating money for scholarships for our seniors, we have a donate button on our website. Donations in any amount are always well welcomed and well received, and your dollars go a really long way in our organization. Following us on Facebook and Instagram is huge for us, just to create awareness. I am personally astounded every time that I'm out and having discussions and people are unaware that we are here in our backyard, and the amazing impact that we're having in our community and what this really means for these young girls. And so just even giving us a follow and a like on some of our posts, or sharing our posts when we have events, is a huge help for us in helping us get the word out. Volunteering to come in as a speaker to some of our MANA clubs and inspiring our young girls. Corey has a speaker. How often do you have a speaker, Corey? Is it weekly or monthly?
Well, we have meetings weekly, and then we have speakers whenever we can get the speakers. It's not a particular schedule.
So she does schedule those, far out in advance. So if you can ever volunteer to come in and share some insights, that is always welcomed. And becoming a mentor of our middle schoolers. They work hand in hand with our program facilitators. So Corey Dienda and Gabriela Hushman on those campuses to help mentor our young girls. You can support us with your Amazon purchases, things you are already doing. Just selecting us on the Amazon Smile every time you buy is a huge help as well. Those donations come to us and go to support our girls' programs. And then sponsoring t-shirts is huge. I think it was $350 this year per class to sponsor for a class. It's not a huge amount of money, and it is a huge impact. So for a local business or even a local family, you can donate in the name of your local family, or sponsoring one of our events is always huge, so that we can put some money behind promoting the event. Sometimes, right now we're not live, but when we were live, helping to provide for some of the food or entertainment. Right now, a big part of the expenditures go towards promoting the events. So any way that you can help, just even getting plugged into us is a huge help, and we're very, very appreciative.
So now we'd like to hear from Karen.
Hi, happy Saturday, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with everyone. Just as they mentioned in the beginning, I go to Carlsbad High. I'm a senior. I'm 18, and so far I've been accepted to 11 universities. So that's a lot of money and scholarships right there for me. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about, thank you, my plan for my future and how MANA has incorporated it into my life. So I was raised in like the Carlsbad School District area. So I was very familiar with, a lot of people, and I didn't have a really good experience elementary years. I wasn't treated equally, excuse me, getting choked up. I wasn't treated equally. I'd always have problems struggling to fit in, and I'd always have an identity crisis because I always wanted to be like everyone else. But the thing is that there's no one else like me at Carlsbad. I went to Calavera Hills. Out of my class, I think I was 2 out of 3 Latinos in my class. So it was primarily very white dominantly. And at least I would have at least 1 or 2 Black students in my class. And we would always just hang out in our own little bubbles. And I'd always hang out with whoever I got along with. I was a very, very humble child, like my dad says. I would always interact with everyone. I was always so curious. So that was basically how my elementary years went. I just kind of stayed to myself. I I didn't really know much about my culture. My parents, I mean, we speak Spanish at home, we do this and that, but I just was really lost. Like I had no motivation for school. I didn't know, I had no pathway anywhere to college. I didn't even think about college at all up until I think 8th grade. I just had no motivation. And it wasn't until I got into middle school where Mana completely changed my life. And I'm being serious, like it completely changed my life. It went a total 360 way. I was fortunate to have a very, very, very amazing parents. My dad is super influential with me and he always wanted the best for me. But obviously, the circumstances given that, he didn't have a college degree and, he couldn't obviously provide me with the resources of college and stuff. And as I said, I'm very, very communicative and I love to talk to people. So the Hermanitas program was easy for me when it came to talking because I was always so curious. And I was like, oh, you do this, you do that. And I basically like discovered my Hispanic culture from there. I didn't know much about what I was doing in my community until Hermanitas came into my life. They've been there for me with everything. I discovered my passion for children through them. They pushed me more to my limits. Like, you got this, Karen. It was always Miss Corey and back then Miss Bullard, who was like assisting us, always saying, you got this, Karen, you got this. Like, you can do this. I had horrible grades in elementary. And in middle school, I got that motivation from Mana saying, like, come on, you got this. Like, you have the voice. You're gonna do something good with your life. And I took that all and sorry. I took that all in and I put it to use. And ever since then, I have had the motivation and the advocacy. And if it wasn't for the Hermanitas program, I don't think I would be here speaking with you guys today because they literally restrained my confidence. They made sure I had a Latina identity. They made sure I always talked about grades with them, talked about confidence with them. And that's where my personality began. And I have never been so passionate about this program in my life. Like, I love this program so much. It's changed my life so much. And recently my sister's actually in the Hermanitas program too. And she's also, I was the one who was like, hey, if this program did good for me, you should do it too. And I'm very close with all my siblings. So she's in the program too. She's at Sage Creek. I'm at Carlsbad, very different schools with different goals. She wants to be into pre-med and I don't know. She just has her own goals and I let her be her own person. But I want to work with kids, specifically, young kids with mental illnesses and stuff. But later on, I started my journey in high school with Hermanitas and I continued through high school as a 9th grade leader, 10th grade leader, and then my junior year I became president, and then 12th grade we got a tiebreaker between me and my friend, and we ended up being co-presidents as of it, which is actually a really good way of leadership that I think, because sharing that role made me learn a lot of new things, and I'm more than grateful, appreciative of all my girls in the club. I love joking around with them. They're the best support system that I've had this pandemic. A lot of things went down in my family, the pandemic, which was really hurtful for me. And having that great support system really was really needed, I guess you could say. So I couldn't be more proud of my girls, all of them. Sophia, the one who did the video, I had got recently close with her because she's just a great freshman. And then I always text the girls. Miss Corey doesn't know this, but I always text them. And I'm always like, did you guys do, like, how was your week? And I just start up conversations with them because I wish someone in 8th grade was there, or 6th grade or 5th grade, or even like 2nd grade was there to ask me, like, how are you today? Or how's your work been or something, And I think every Latina needs a support system. And that's what I think Hermanita and the MANA program has done for me, has been a support system. And I love it. And I will never leave San Diego County for that reason, just because I've never felt such a great support system in my life. And I want to thank you, Miss Corey, for being such a great mentor in my life. And congratulations to Griselda. I still haven't properly introduced myself to you, but I can't imagine my life without Hermanitas because of the many, many, many opportunities I've gotten because of them. And that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. I'm just Yeah, I think everybody deserves some applause. This has been two excellent presentations, and I thank you all so much. I think we have learned so much that we did not know about. I am very anxious to come and talk to you about what we do, but I am truly seeing that there are some wonderful opportunities to partner and work together. So I'm excited about that. That's cool. I want to offer everyone who's at the meeting today the opportunity to take the survey that Bill was talking about. Nancy, you can send it to everybody today, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Yes, good. Okay, so if you all would get on that survey right away, it's due on the 25th or 26th. I'm not sure which. That would be excellent. Oh, thank you, Rob. In case any of you missed it. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you was we are taping this, as you know. It will be on our YouTube station as soon as Nancy and Susan can get it up, which will probably be in the next couple days. So if you want to go back and refresh your memory on any point, please do so. But in the meantime, let's go out and join some organizations and donate some money. Yes. And then let's go do some work. I have some great ideas listening to everybody talk. I'm thinking, oh, that's something we could do. We could help with that. Oh, that kind of thing. So I think for me personally, it's been a great meeting. I thank you all so much for coming. And I wish you a very happy, yes.
Marlene has a question.
Where is Marlene? Oh, there's Marlene. Yes, Marlene.
If you're open to questions, I have two quickies. Corey, when you listed the high schools that you were involved with at the beginning of the presentation, you included El Camino High School in Oceanside, but when you got to the statistics, they were not included. So I'm interested in what, I happen to live 2 blocks away from the high school, so I'm especially interested in that.
Yeah, that's the school that Gabby works at. And so she has a group of girls that she's had for many years going through there. And I just put them together with high school. When I did the high school statistics, I put them. We don't have a middle school yet. We have tried and tried.
No, I get
middle
that.
school in Oceanside, and we have just been met with too many obstacles. So we had, yes, right, those high school girls were included in those statistics.
It just wasn't named. That's why I raised the question. The second question I have is that one of the things that was on the list of ways that we could contribute was to volunteer as speakers. And I was trusting that there is not a Spanish fluency requirement, that there would be translators available. Is that correct?
Well, the girls are all fluent in English, and most of them are also bilingual Spanish. Most of their parents.
But therefore you wouldn't require a speaker to be able to. That was my question.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize. I am obviously too time sensitive here. We have time. If there are questions, please raise your hand for Mana. Any questions for Mana? Any questions for NAACP? Oh, Rita has a question. Okay, Rita and then Ronnie. Okay, go ahead, Rita.
This question is to Mana. I wonder how closely you all have worked with Encuentros, or if you have worked with them at all, which seems very much a counterpart to what you do, but for young Latinos.
Yeah, in fact, the founder of Encuentros, who passed away recently, he's the one that encouraged us and pushed us to found Mana, a chapter of Mana, so that the girls would have a program. Encuentros has gone through different iterations of their program. They started with a club at Carlsbad High, and it was very active, and then it wasn't, and they had classes in lots of middle schools. One of my friends who painted this painting, in fact, he was a teacher at Madison Middle School for the Encuentros program. So they were in schools, and now they're focusing more on doing things like the summer program at Cal Site San Marcos and the conferences that they offered in the fall. They don't have a group of boys that they mentor that they continue with. It's just a little bit different structure. But oh yeah, we always support the things that Encuentros is doing. We're yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Ronnie and then Satya.
First of all, are you in the San Diego Union High School District, or are you just farther north?
No, we have not been invited to
Oh,
join
okay.
that district. Yeah.
I just want to make a comment in my experience with young people and myself. Confidence is so important. And what Karen was saying about gaining confidence and being told that you can do it and seeing examples that it's huge. You're so much more motivated, and if you feel if you feel that you're valued, and that's what confidence really comes from, being valued.
Yeah,
Thank you. I really am impressed with your work.
Well, thank you. We're now using the book Confidence Code for Girls, starting in 7th grade. And we found that the girls get an extra boost of confidence starting at that level with that particular book, but it wasn't out, it was a new book. So we got it as soon as it was all hot off the press.
Okay, Satya, you're next.
Yeah, it's not a question. It's just kind of a comment really quickly. I did go ahead on Facebook right now and I liked your page. So yes, I actually, when I was the VSU president, I actually was very involved in Latina leadership on Maricosta College as well as MECHA. And so Rob actually was part of MECHA at Palomar. So we definitely support what you're doing. I think it's amazing, especially in this climate. They need more about self-awareness and being prideful in their culture. So I definitely love that and keep the good work up. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Well, you've heard my farewell speech already. So thank you all for coming, and we will be in touch. You're all going to get the survey today, so be sure and do it quickly, okay? Thank you again to the speakers. You were all wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Yep.